So how many of you are ready to have better results in your life? Yes! Anybody not? I didn't think so. My name is Nicole Bandis, and I'd like to welcome you this evening to the Phoenix 2% Club. Our commitment to you and our mission statement here at the 2% Club is that we are committed to educating and inspiring. We're committed to what, please?
Educating and inspiring.
Educating and inspiring people to reach their full financial potential. Is that good or good?
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I once heard it said that 80% of success is just showing up. It's just what, please?
Showing up.
Thank you. And since I can't get out there and reach around and, give each one of you a hug, what I want you to do is reach over to your neighbor, give him a pat on the back and say, congratulations for being here. Good job. Thank you so much. I want to really take a moment and just pause and thank you for your time this evening. Time is one of our most valuable resources. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Absolutely. And you took the time to be here. And for that, I really want to thank you. But I also want to thank you for your investment as well as your energy tonight. Because energy is everything. Energy is what, please?
Everything.
Absolutely. Thank you. And in return, what I promise that we're going to do is we're going to do our very, very best to provide to you some fun, some education, and some inspiration. How does that sound? Good? Thank you. Well, tonight we're also going to learn some stuff. That's the education part. So we're going to learn some great business tips that can hopefully help you in your business and take your business to the next level. How many of you would like some of that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're also going to learn how to overcome that scarcity mentality and learn how to have a mentality of both. Because if you could have either or, wouldn't you rather have both?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we're going to learn some of the very best reasons why writing a book can launch your career or your business into the next stratosphere. How many of you think that might be pretty cool?
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, since we're going to be together for a little while, would it be all right if I told you a little bit about how I got up on the stage?
Sure.
Thank you. How many of you know who I am? I know some of you do. I just want to see you show of hands. Well, again, my name is Nicole Bandis, and I once was sitting in your seat. And I mean that figuratively, I mean that literally. I was absolutely the very person that sat in your seat thinking, I want to get more. I want to get more out of life. I want to get more out of my business. I want to get more out of my relationships. I want more. And I went on a journey of personal development to get more. And I attended Peaks Potentials programs as well as some others in order to get more. And one of the things that I learned was that I wanted to share what I was learning. Because it's one thing to learn it, but when you're able to share it, it goes to a new level. How many of you would agree with that?
Yes.
Good, because I'm going to ask you about that later. So keep that in mind. So I knew from a very young age that I was meant to be up on a stage because, well, 3 or 4 years old, I was standing in front of my bathroom mirror with a hairbrush, singing loud to my audience. And then I realized, you guys sort of have to kind of sing in order to be able to do that. And I wasn't really a very good singer. So I knew that wasn't going to be how I was going to be on stage. And finally, I began to realize through all this personal development that it was in order to educate and inspire other individuals in the same way that I have been educated and inspired. So let me ask you a question. Do you want to educate and do you want to inspire other people? Yes? Good. Because you'll learn some ways you can do that tonight. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, the restrooms. Our normal social media and that kind of thing? Okay, some of you do. Well, here's an interesting thing that we're going to try out for a little while. Now, you've heard everybody talk about cell phones and making sure that you put your cell phone on stun or silent or kill or whatever. I don't want you to turn your cell phones off tonight, but what I do want you to do is make sure they're on silent, and then if you hear a really great bit of information that you want to share, use your social media and your cell phone to share it. Now you can tag our fan page at 2% Club with your message on Facebook, or if you use Twitter, you can use the hashtag 2% Club. So if you don't know what those are, well, one of the things I encourage you to do is start going to our Friday afternoon luncheons, and you'll learn all about those. But if you do know what they are, it's a great way to share the inspiration and the education that you're getting here at the club tonight. Good or good?
Good.
Thank you. Okay. So, we have a tradition here at the Phoenix 2% Club. Who knows what it is? Declarations. That's right. I need a couple of volunteers up on stage. Who would like to volunteer for me this evening? All right. Steve, you're up, and Linda, you're up. Steve, you're up.
All right.
All right. Let's give Steve and Linda a hand. We had to give some correction. When you come up on stage, make sure that you use the steps for me tonight. That way nobody gets hurt. Okay. I want everybody to hold up their green flyer. Green is the color of money. It's the color of what, please?
Money.
Okay, so we're going to do our declaration. So everybody, please, on your feet.
Whoa.
Ooh, I don't know. What do we think? Was that kind of an okay thing? All right, let's sit down for a second. Yeah, okay. So remember, everything is energy. It's what, please?
Energy.
That's right. So, everybody, on your feet. There we go. All right, hold up your
Amazing. All right, very good.
So you are amazing.
Yes, please pass your declarations to the center aisle, and our success squad will collect those for us. Okay. How's everybody doing?
Yeah.
Amazing. Who said amazing? All right. I know, Steve. Okay. Every month, we choose a willing participant to participate in what we call the hot seat. How many of you have been here for the hot seat before and seen what that's like?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, the interesting thing is, every month we get a commitment from the individual that's up here on the stage to come back next month to share with us the results of being on the hot seat. Well, 2 months in a row now, we've had an interesting predicament. For 2 months in a row, the hot seat was so effective that our participants were not able to come back because they got business on the very night that we were having our summit. Is that good or great? That is amazing. Okay, so the reason that we find the hot seat very effective is because we have one person come up here and they share about their business and they share an opportunity of what their challenges are currently, and then from the audience we get ideas and suggestions for that individual. Now oftentimes those ideas and suggestions are really beneficial to our audience members as well. So that's why we do it, and that's why it's a great thing. But since our participant from last month isn't able to be here this evening, she was kind enough to send us a little bit of an update. And this is an update on her progress, and I'm going to read it if you don't mind. Would that be all right?
Sure.
Thank you. Now, on your seats, you'll notice there is a piece of paper that says Hot Seat Suggestions Given. You can look at this as a review of what those suggestions were to her for last month. That's kind of an interesting thing, so that as I'm going through and reading this, you will have an opportunity to kind of reflect back. Okay, so our hot seat participant last month was Barbara Ann Miller. And she writes, "Hello, my fellow 2%ers. As you know by now, I'm unable to attend tonight's meeting. First of all, I want to thank all of you for your wonderful feedback and advice. I have an appointment this evening with a new venue, which is very exciting." How many of you would agree to that? Yes. "I brought home the pages from the flip chart and taped them to the wall in my office." Now, that's a pretty good idea if you ask me. What do you think? Good idea? Yes. All right. "They were a constant visualization and reminder to me. Here were 3 of the suggestions. Non-profit events. I attended a benefit for one of our local musicians. Actually, I volunteered to head up the silent auction and raffle, so she took it even one step further. I was able to network with several people whom I added to my contact list. The best connection I made was with Mona, the bar manager at the Rhythm Room." How many of you are familiar with the Rhythm Room?
No.
Oh, yeah. Good place. "She and I will be meeting soon to discuss booking bands and the burlesque at her venue. That was one of my dream venues." So imagine that. You take some of the suggestions from this stage, and it fulfills one of your dreams. Now, how many of you have had a chance to take a simple suggestion and fulfill one of your dreams? How many of you would like to? How many of you are currently signed up for the hot seat tonight? Not quite as many hands went up on that. We might have to pass around some of those sign-up sheets. "Hotel and event coordinator. I looked up casinos in Arizona online and contacted the booking agents via email and phone. I am anticipating a positive response." Okay, now, from the positivity coach here, a positive response is a good thought process, right? "Trendy coffee shops, hotel brunches. By doing an online search, I was able to reach out to over 25 different venues in this category." Okay, 25 venues. She got up here on stage and she took your suggestions And she didn't take it lightly. She didn't just go out and do 1 or 2 actions. She contacted over 25 different venues. Does that deserve a round of applause? I have sent emails and left messages for each of them. This has increased my venue list and my self-confidence as well. I found it was so much easier to make the initial contacts knowing that I was accountable not only to myself, but to Rick Lambrecht and my fellow 2%ers. That's all you. You guys helped her. I booked my burlesque clients in a new venue in Tempe, and classes begin on August 12th. Who signed up? We have signed a service agreement between her and First String Promotions, not only for classes, but for website development as well. So she's taken it even one step further. There are a few obstacles along the way, which only increased my determination because I knew they were there to strengthen me. So she saw the challenge, and rather than allowing the block to stop her, she decided that she was going to work that much harder. That's what I call success. It's called what, please?
Success.
Thank you. I am continuing to work on the other suggestions on my list as time allows. I am marketing myself to the venues and the musicians. I have set time-sensitive goals, and I will keep you updated as I progress on my journey. Calling Rick on Wednesdays to discuss my progress proved to be extremely helpful. If you find yourself in the hot seat tonight, be ready for great things to happen. Your fellow 2%er and business development agent, aka Barbara Ann Miller. Now, I don't know about you, I've not had an opportunity to be in the hot seat, but it certainly is something that sounds like it can really launch your business to the next level. Now, who out there that attended last month got some sort of an idea from what happened to Barbara Ann's suggestions and thought, you know what, something like that might work for my business? Did you get an idea like that? Yeah. Okay, there's a few hands. Linda, can we get a mic up here? Linda, what did you get from that you can apply to your business?
Well, one of the things,
Linda, name and where you're from?
I'm Linda Costello, I'm from Scottsdale, and one of the main things that I got is I noticed how everything was so industry specific, that everyone was giving Barbara Ann ideas that were industry specific. Is it on now? Is it any louder?
Doesn't sound like
No.
it will be.
Well, I will talk very loud and I will hold
There
it
you
in
go.
the right position.
Okay, very good, Linda.
So one of the things that I noticed is all of the suggestions were very industry specific. And I said, well, I'm not in the music industry and I'm not looking for a place to do events. And I went, wait a minute, yes, I am looking for a place to do events. And I started thinking on the same lines as what she had done. How can I apply that in some of my projects that I have going forward? And realize that if I contact areas, different places that have the same target market that I was looking for, that those would be great venues. And so that's what myself and a couple other people I'm working with are in the process of doing.
How many of you can relate to that? Yeah. Can you do something like that in your own business? Sure. Let's give Linda a hand, please, for sharing. Thank you. So now what we're going to do this evening is we're going to bring up somebody new for the hot seat. So Rick, we're going to pick a name out of the hat here. Is your name in there? I'm going to pick you. Let's see. We have Tracy Rodriguez.
Tracy!
Okay, Tracy, thank you so much for being here. Are you excited? Oh, yeah. Okay, what I'm going to have you do, training on the mic. Make sure that you hold the mic directly so that everybody can hear you well. Okay. Okay. So the first thing I need from you is 2 commitments. Okay? I need a commitment for you to be here next month.
Yes, I will.
Okay, perfect. And a commitment to meet with Rick by phone at least weekly to make sure that you stay accountable to what you're going to do.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
All right.
All right, are we excited? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to give Tracy 3 minutes. How many minutes?
3 minutes.
3 minutes to tell us a little bit about her business and some challenges that she's currently facing in her business. Okay? So 3 minutes for the whole thing, and at 3 minutes I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
Put a hand on your shoulder, you're done.
Okay.
We'll stick a fork here. All right, go ahead.
All right, my name is Tracy Rodriguez, and I'm from Peoria, Arizona. And my situation is a little unique because I've had some success, and I wouldn't even call them challenges that I have, but I have a couple projects that I want to get started or that I'm in the middle of that I want help on building. And I have no intention on signing up for this. Mind you, I actually brought this with me because I wanted to show Thomas because something the last time I saw him. So, I'm going to grab this. Sorry. But my business is Ladies Fitness Boot Camps. That's my main business. And then I have several products online and all sorts of stuff. But when I saw Thomas last, I met with Tom from the MMI, Thomas, the other Thomas, from that was the MC from the thing, and he encouraged me to do something in my business, and it was to become the face of my business. So I developed my own 90-day transformation workbook. But I have 5 ladies doing it with me currently, and today is day 17, and I'm 7 pounds down.
All right.
So I want to market that more, and I want to actually, what Thomas had encouraged me to do was to just make it a huge marketing campaign for myself and my business. So I want help in that. And then the second part of it is that I also, a couple months ago, have developed the 3-phase diet deck cards, which are the weight loss cards. And I want to develop a corporate program. Sorry.
My fault.
A corporate program to take my cards in and teach them how to do this nutrition program and to develop some sort of thing where I don't physically, other than first meeting with them and teaching them, that I design a 30, 60, 90-day plan, but where I don't have to be there all the time, and it's something I can develop over email or whatever, but on a corporate level for it to be a corporate program. So those are the couple things. So I wouldn't call them challenges. I just want to add on to what I'm doing, and those are the areas that I want to help in.
All right.
Almost.
You got about 45 seconds.
Oh, 45
so if you want to clarify.
Oh, sure. Let's see. So, with the 90-day plan, just so you know, ladies are doing the boot camp with me, and they're getting the program, which is an accountability 90-day program, 90 days in the workbook. They get 90-day actual texts from me to keep them accountable, and they're paying $299 3 months in a row. So that's kind of to give you, and my boot camps are normally $200 just for the boot camp per month. So that gives you an idea on that. The cards, again, I want to do some sort of lunchtime corporate thing. I'm thinking of calling it like the brown bag nutrition program.
All right. So we need marketing ideas for you and how to get into corporate America kind of thing for sure. All right. Does everybody understand? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to have you have a seat. And I need to have a volunteer describe for Tracy. Who will be willing to describe? Right up, on the board, the ideas and suggestions. All right, Kathy.
All right, Kathy.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to take suggestions. Kathy's going to write them down for you. So all you have to do is listen. Okay, so you don't have to say anything, you don't have to give any feedback, you just listen and absorb. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready with the mic? So we'll take our first one over here. Stand up and state your name and where you're from, and then what your suggestions.
Stefan Mars.
Phoenix, Arizona.
At least it's not Venus.
Oh, that's right. A thought, instead of lunch and learn, which is sort of the brown bag concept, if you bring your lunch, you learn something, how about lunch and lose?
Oh, that's all right. You like that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Who else has a suggestion? Same row. All right.
Kathy Williamson from Fresca. Your personal boot camp, have you gone out to the different gyms and health clubs and put in flyers to try to make people that way?
Okay, no feedback. We're just giving suggestions.
That's
So,
just a suggestion.
all right.
Hi, I'm Susan Grantham, World Business Associates. You need to contact the Chambers of Commerce and get the corporate headquarters CEOs that you can get in touch with. But I have some people I need to talk to.
Very good. All right. Who else has a suggestion? Somebody over here? Steve?
One area that I've investigated, the new healthcare law has some provisions for weight loss programs that are paid by medical insurance. So I see about teaming up with someone that could actually bill medical insurance and have an incentive for all the corporations to get their staff losing weight and getting healthier and reducing their the risk of diseases associated with weight.
Very good. Who else? Nellie over here.
Nellie Williams, Phoenix, Arizona. I'm wondering about meetup groups. Get an online presence because there's going to be people in their homes that need this that don't go to corporate jobs, and that's going to be a great market.
Very good. Hamish?
How about LinkedIn? Because all the corporate guys are on LinkedIn, so probably
LinkedIn? Very good. Who else has a suggestion? Over here, Kyra. Keena, sorry.
Facebook put an invitation out on Facebook to your friends and have them shared on their walls, and like actually do an event thing. Maybe start out with twice a month or something like that.
Anyone else? Over here? Stand up, please.
Marlene, Body Beautiful, and I thought maybe make a little video when the three of you are working out, or kind of get like-minded gals in there doing the same thing that aren't afraid and they see it's going to be easy and fun. So I think a video might go well on your website or on your site.
Very good. Anyone else? Jeff?
I may be repeating a couple of things, one that have already been said, but number one is almost all corporations now have wellness programs, and they have people that are leading those wellness programs. I'm sure there's a way that you could start finding out who those people are in those organizations, contacting them. People mention Facebook and LinkedIn and making videos, but I think overall, if you have an overall strategy for using social media, so using all the platforms, and you use that in a comprehensive way, I think you're going to get great results. So it's using all the platforms. So it's using Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and coming up with a comprehensive package, and you're going to do great.
Very good. I think we have time for maybe one more. Yes, over here.
Ryan Becerra, Phoenix, Arizona. I was thinking maybe bandit signs. Those tend to help what we're doing. And also with social media, maybe start a blog, try to get inspiration, let people know how it feels and what you're doing. And yeah.
Does everybody know what bandit signs are?
Yeah.
Okay. No? Okay. All right.
So what are bandit signs?
Have you guys ever driven around and on the street you'll see have you guys ever driven around and you'll see when you park your car or stop your car, you see these signs along the road that say buy rental houses cheap or lose weight now, and they're just small signs. Those are called bandit signs. And there's a couple of companies in town, one in particular with Brian, and does a great job. And depending on what you've got on those signs, you can get them distributed all over the town. You'd be amazed how many people pick up and actually follow through and call based on that marketing methodology. So bandit signs are those little signs you see kind of stuck all over the place, buying houses or whatever.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. And please, if we can give Tracy a round of applause.
Yeah.
We're going to give Tracy these 2 sheets. I think there's 2, right?
Just two.
Yep. We'll give you these 2 sheets. We'll give them to you afterwards, so I don't have to care about now. And you're going to take them home and you're going to choose at least 3 items off of those sheets.
Okay.
Okay? And then you're going to work with Rick to put those into practice into your business. And we'll come back and report on how that goes. Sound great?
Yeah.
Give her another hand, please. So how many of you learned something that you might be able to apply in your own business? How many of you are actually going to take action on that over the next 30 days? I didn't see very many hands on that one. Okay, well, at this point in time, what I'd like to do is I'd like to take a moment to introduce somebody that's very near and dear to my heart. This gentleman has really been an incredible leader here in the Phoenix area, both with his financial wisdom and his dedication and his commitment to really educating and inspiring the Phoenix residents. He's been a mentor to me. He's been a dear friend to me. And, I can't say enough about him. You meet you all, and hopefully you know him. And at this time, I'd like to bring up Mr. Jeff Fagan.
And let's give it up for Nicole. Okay, so let me ask you guys something real seriously. How many of you guys really want to become financially free in the next 3 years? Raise your hand up high if that's really what you want. Okay, how many of you want to do it sooner rather than later?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so then we're in the right place for sure. As Nicole said, I'm Jeff Fagan. Raise your hand if you know who I am. Raise your hand if you don't know who I am. Anybody here not know? A couple of people, but almost everybody does. So, as you guys, the first thing I want to do is I want to start by thanking a few very important people. To begin with, I want to thank our core leadership team. Raise your hand if you're on the core leadership team. In fact, please stand up. Our core leaders. Let's give it up for our core leaders. You have no idea. You guys show up once a month, and of course we're happy to have you. You have no idea how much work goes on behind the scenes to keep this club running month after month, year after year, and all these people dedicate their time and donate their time to help us make this thing happen. I also want to make sure we thank our Success Squad, all the people wearing the black shirts with it says 2%. Raise your hands, stand up for a second, let's do it. So, we're here to do the summit, and of course, as you guys know, we do the summit the 4th Wednesday of each month. Which Wednesday? The 4th Wednesday of each month, thank you. And this summit is dedicated to educating and inspiring you to reach your full financial potential. Raise your hand if you want to reach your full financial potential. And everybody, raise your hand if you would agree, everybody does have a full financial potential, right? Everybody might be different from everybody else's, but you do have a full financial potential. Raise your hand if you believe that's true. Raise your hand if you believe you're approaching your full financial potential right now. Raise your hand if you want to be approaching your full financial potential. Right? So in addition to the summit that we hold the 4th Wednesday of each month, every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock. Which morning? Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock, we have Mornings with Jeff. Raise your hand if you've ever been to Mornings with Jeff. And in it, what do? We take Harv Ecker's book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Raise your hand if you've read it. Raise your hand if you're studying it. Raise your hand if you believe this is a book that can take you to the promised land. It can. And every Tuesday morning for 90 minutes. For how long? 90 minutes. We take one of the 17 wealth files and we look at it in depth. We look at it at the cellular level. What level? Cellular. Trust me, there's a big difference between reading a book and and studying at the cellular level. Raise your hand if you believe that's true. So how many of you have ever been to a Tuesday morning with Jeff? Raise your hand if you've been. Who'd be willing to give a very brief, and I mean brief, 15, 20-second testimony about what it's like Tuesday morning with Jeff? Who'd be willing to share? Vince. Thank you.
I'll do it without the mic. I think we can handle that.
Okay.
Tuesday mornings with Jeff, most of you are raising your hands up here anyway, so I know most of you have taken a chance to be in there. But going through this thing and really learning it, some of us are on our third or fourth time through the book at this point. At cellular levels where it's got to be. It has to be something that absolutely comes right out of you, the inside of you. So that's how you can make sure that that happens. Show up and be with us on Tuesday morning.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you very much. Now, let me ask you guys something. How many of you guys are in business of some sort? Raise your hand if you're in business of some sort. Raise your hand if you have at least $5,000 a month for your marketing budget. Raise your hand if you have less than $100 for your marketing budget. So, there's something called social media. Raise your hand if you've heard of it. Raise your hand if you realize there's actually a way to monetize social media. Raise your hand if you know that they can actually be monetized. Raise your hand if you realize that 98% of all people using social media don't monetize it, right? So we get together every Friday at 11:30 to study this book by Jeffrey Gitomer. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of Jeffrey. He's a brilliant marketer. He wrote a book called Social Boom. What's it called? Social Boom. And for 90 minutes, every Friday at lunch, you're welcome to join us. And we go through one area of social media because the fact of the matter is the better you get at it, the quicker you're going to reach your financial freedom. Raise your hand if you want financial freedom. So every Friday for 90 minutes, we'll take something out of this book and we will study it in depth. Now, how many of you guys think that there's a benefit to being able to speak in front of a large group of people in a convincing, persuasive way? Right? And the second Wednesday night of each month. Which Wednesday night? Second Wednesday night. We have trainer development night with Paul Guerrero. Paul is not with us here tonight, but Paul is a master trainer, and he provides 2 hours. How long? 2 hours of training on how to use accelerated learning techniques so that you can speak effectively in front of a group of people. Raise your hand if that's something you'd like to be able to do. Raise your hand if you'd like to be able to get people to actually take action on the things that you're suggesting to them. And that's what you learn the second Wednesday night of each month. So we have lots and lots of stuff going on throughout the month. If you think about it, there's something going on every Tuesday, there's something going on every Friday, there's something going on the second Wednesday night, and there's something going on the fourth Wednesday night. So I want to thank all of you guys for showing up tonight. Again, 80% of all success is showing up. So I thank all you guys for showing up. I hope you guys are going to take lots of notes. Again, I thank you guys so much for showing up, and I'm going to turn it back to Nicole. Thanks again, you guys.
Okay, thank you so much. Isn't Jeff amazing? Don't you love him? Okay, I just want to mention something. First of all, a little bit of just information and a little bit of training. When we use the mic, make sure that you're just facing directly into it. This is called a unidirectional mic, which means you have to talk directly into the very top of the mic. So if you get a chance to use the mic tonight, just make sure that you hold it directly in front of you. So it should cover your whole mouth. Second of all, we realize that we're getting some crackling with it. We're doing the best that we can to get that fixed. I just wanted to make sure that you all know, yes, we're working on that. So, all right, thanks. Rick, you want this? Yes, you. Okay. So here at the Phoenix 2% Club, we have a segment of our meeting called the Wealth File Training. This is where we take a wealth file from the book that Jeff was sharing with you and actually educate you on a somewhat deeper level than just reading the book by yourself. Because, you know, after all, you can read the information, you can hear information, you can, you know, take in information, but sometimes when you hear just a little bit of a twist to that information, all of a sudden it clicks. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So it's very good to hear and take it in multiple different ways. So even if you've read the book, even if you've attended the Tuesdays with Jeff and have studied the book, sometimes coming here and getting that wealth file information from somebody that's completely new to the subject for you, you get a new insight and all of a sudden it becomes crystal clear. Good or good?
Good.
Thank you. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce our wealth file trainer for this evening. Her name is Dr. Denise Menchaca. for a while. She was actually born and raised here in Yuma, Arizona. She attended school at ASU and then went to Harvard to get her doctorate. She's attended several of the MMIs and has been a member of the Phoenix 2% Club, both as just an attending member, but also as part of our Success Squad for over a year. She also attends the Tuesday Mornings with Jeff and the Social Boom on Fridays, and she's worked in community colleges for 17 years. She's worked in the community college system. And so that's, she brings a valuable asset to what we're looking for as a wealth file trainer this evening. And then, of course, she embodies the idea of passive income by owning her own business called Park Lane Jewelry for over 4 years. And of course, I wouldn't want to diminish it, she is also the proud owner of 2 amazing cats named Sparky and Baxter. So please, if you could give a roaring round of applause for this evening's Wealth File trainer, Dr. Denise Minchak.
It was the best of both, and I'll always value that opportunity I have. How many of you would like the best of both worlds? Yes. Thank you. Another opportunity that I used both thinking, I remember vividly, there was a money expert that I'd been following. I received newsletters, listened to a couple of teleseminars, and found out she was going to be in the Phoenix area. I was excited. And during that presentation, she talked about a 3-day intensive training course that she had, which she would be talking about how to start a business. She called it a cash machine and how to make that successful. Well, I knew that's what I needed. I was a budding entrepreneur. I wanted to start my own business, but I really had no idea what it was all about. So I set the intention in my mind that I was going to go to this workshop. She also continued to say how much the registration cost would be. Well, that exceeded my budget, and it was more than I had. But I knew it was going to be a challenge, but I was going to figure out how I was going to go to this. Then she continued on to say that if you registered for that workshop, you could bring a spouse, a friend, or a business partner. Do you think I saw opportunity in that? Yeah. I said, well, okay, now I can figure out I know how I can pay for it and be able to go. So when the time came, we went to go to the registration tables. I knew I could, I talked to a few people about, if they were going, if somebody else was going with them, and I did meet a woman who was in the same boat as myself. She wanted to go, but couldn't pay the full registration cost. We joined together, we registered, and I got to go. That was having the best of both. Being able to pay for it, what I could afford, and getting all that information and knowledge. Good or good?
Yes.
Thank you. I have taken this freedom to choose to all aspects of my life. I have had the best of both worlds with few limitations about what I could do. As I've said many times, the sky's the limit. The sky's the what? Limit. Yes, thank you. In wealth file number 12, rich people see abundance in the world. Poor people see limitations. Same world, different perspectives. Poor people see scarcity and think things like, well, there's only so much to go around. There's not enough for everyone. You can't have everything. Yes, you can't have all things, but you can have everything that you want. True?
True.
Yes, thank you. You can have a career or close relationships with your family, or both.
Both.
Do you want to focus on business or have fun and play, or both?
Both.
Thank you. Do you want to earn a fortune or do the work that you love, or both?
Both.
Thank you. When you use creativity, you almost always can figure out how you can have both. When you're faced with that either or choice, you need to stop yourself and say to yourself, how can I have both? Say that with me, please. How can I have both? Excellent. Do you think that question could change your life? Yes. It will change everything. When you can come from a point of scarcity, looking at scarcity and limitation, to abundance of possibilities, you can have that in all aspects of your life. Good or good?
Good.
Thank you. Is happiness important?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, poor and middle class people are confused. They think, when they think about being really rich and truly happy, they think those are mutually exclusive. Well, that's a result of poor programming. True?
True.
Thank you. As Harv Eker stated, rich people have their cake and enjoy it, and poor and middle class people, think cake's too rich, they'll have a small piece, and poor people think they don't deserve the cake. I'll take the donut, focus on the whole, and wonder why they have nothing. True?
True.
Thank you. In that either-or thinking, that's fear-based and self-defeating programming. It's looking at thinks like, you know, well, if I have more, someone else has less. But when we're talking about money, money's in short supply. It's not. Believe me, when the government needs more money, they just print more money. True? True. Thank you. The poor people, middle class people don't realize that money that circulates in the economy, you know, is used over and over again and creates value for each person that receives it. For example, if my neighbor had a yard sale and she was selling something that she didn't want it, but I thought I needed and I gave her $5, then she would take that $5 and give it to somebody else for something that she wanted. And then that person would continue to do that. And it'd go on, creating value for everyone. So money does not get used up. But do you think it creates value?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Rich people share their money, but they also share the compassion, the gratitude and appreciation. They're generous with their wealth and with their compassion, and so that they can help their communities, the country, and even the world. Good or good? Good. Thank you. You can be spiritual and be wealthy. Being loving and kind are attributes of the heart. Being pure and spiritual are attributes of the soul. Money doesn't make you good or bad. It only makes you more of who you are in your heart and soul. So now we're going to do an activity to help you further understand how you can have the best of both in all aspects of your life. So, how many of you would like to be financially free in 3 years or less? Yes! Good. You're going to come up with ways, in a minute, you're going to come up with ways of how you're going to increase your working income, have a little better lifestyle, and if you haven't started your passive income stream, start that or rev up the ones you have already. So you're going to need paper and pencil. If anybody doesn't have that, just raise your hand. Success Squad can help you with that. Okay? Everybody has paper and pencil? Good. So in a minute, like I said, you're going to think about having more working income and passive income. As Jim Rohn has stated, I keep my day job to pay my bills and my part-time job to create my wealth. So I'm going to tell you, is everybody clear on what you need to do?
Yes.
Good. Any questions? All right. So I'll tell you when to begin. Get my little stopwatch thing going here. Okay. Begin. You have 10 seconds. Wrap it up. Stop. Great. Now you will share with a partner what you came up with. So you need to find a partner, somebody different, somebody new to you, if at all possible. Need help finding a partner? Raise your hand.
you.
I think you're jumping the gun a bit, so let's get this part done. Partner A, partner B, partner A, look at partner B and say, you go first. Great. You're going to have 45 seconds to share all the ways you came up with, and then I will tell you when to switch. Okay?
Does anybody have any questions on
Any
that?
questions? Clear? All right, begin. Stand up. Since you've kind of gone through this routine, your name, and speak into that mic.
Tracy from Peoria, Arizona. I feel like you already know my business, so I won't explain that. So I want to do new ebooks on Kindle. I already have 7 on them on Kindle, but I want to tweak them and make them better and create new ones. New trainer ebooks and programs, because I have a whole trainer side of my business. New Ladies Fitness Bootcamp ebooks and programs. My 3-phase diet deck app, mobile app. The Lunch and Lose program, thank you, love that. And then do some other apps, and then with my FFA, I want to do tax links, so I want to educate myself on that.
Excellent. Great, excellent, thank you. So now we're going to do the declaration for Well File 12. Need you to get up with some energy up. All right. Put your hand over your heart, and I'll say it, then you'll say it with me after that. I always think both.
I always think both.
Great. Turn to your partner, look at him in the eye, give him a high five, and say, "You have a millionaire mind."
You got a millionaire mind, buddy.
You have a millionaire mind.
Okay, well now that we're all fired up, let's do a little stretch real quick. So if everybody please get back on your feet. Alright. Now there's a right way to stretch and a wrong way to stretch. We're going to stretch backwards first. So when we stretch backwards, make sure that you put your hands back here to kind of support your back. So You can see that? We're gonna stretch back.
Oh.
Feels so good. And we're gonna stretch forward with our hands across. Oh, stretch, 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 stretch. And then we're gonna stretch to the left. Your left. And then to the right, your right. All right. How do we feel? We feel good?
Yes!
All right. That's what I like to hear. Okay. At this time, I'd like to invite you to have a seat, please. And I'm going to let you know who our guest trainer this evening is. Now, this gal has come all the way down from Las Vegas just to speak to our group. So it's an amazing opportunity to have her here. She's a published author. She has a book called Testosterone Free Marketing. This was a business bestseller and has sold in over 15 countries. Now, I'm curious as to how many of you could even point out 15 different countries on a map. She's worked with New York Times best-selling author Robert Allen. That's pretty impressive, for over 7 years. And this is what she's gotten out of writing a book. Writing a book for her has increased her business. She has more speaking opportunities, more promotional opportunities, and she gets more clients. Now, how many of you would like to have more clients?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So without further ado, I would really, really, really appreciate it if y'all got on your feet and gave Miss Denise Michaels a round of applause.
That's becoming my theme music. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. I'm here from Las Vegas by way of Sedona for a couple of days. So that was nice. So I went to the Vortexes yesterday, and I went to the Vortexes today. And I'm feeling different. It's really cool. So a pig and a chicken are walking down, the road. Camelback Road, okay? They're walking down the road, and the chicken sees this sign, and it says, Denny's Grand Slam Breakfast, ham and eggs, $4.99. And so the chicken says to the pig, what do you think about that? And the pig says, well, for you, that's just a day's work. For me, that's the ultimate commitment. Okay? So I want to honor and acknowledge all of you to being committed to your financial success by being here today. So I'm just really thrilled. Give yourselves another round. And Denise, I'm wearing a Park Lane bracelet here. A little tiny one, you know? So anyway, it's wonderful to be here. I'm talking about a different subject than I normally talk about today. I'm known as a marketing mentor. I wrote a book on marketing. Nicole gave me the title, Testosterone Free Marketing. And I'm giving them away in the back of the room this evening. How's that? We have 39 autographed copies. Stacy, my business partner back there. Yay, Stacy! Okay. Give her a business card and you will get a copy of the book, and they're already autographed for you. How's that? Yes. Okay. Now, what's really interesting is how I came to write a book. Because I think that process of deciding to write a book, it's a little like, do I really have something to say? Have any of you thought about that? Like, do I really have something to say, or am I kind of nuts here, you know? And Nicole mentioned that I worked with Bob Allen for 7.5 years. For 6 of those years, if you wanted to learn about marketing and you joined his Enlightened Wealth Millionaire program for $6,000, when you wanted to learn about marketing, oops, you got moi, okay? That's who you got. Is it still there?
Yep.
I'm good? Okay, good. All right, so you got me. when you wanted to learn all about marketing. If you wanted to learn about, he didn't have a program on how to write a book, but he did encourage people to do that. And I went to him and I said, Bob, you know, you're taking people to the Book Expo, which travels around the country every year. It's the biggest professional trade expo for the book industry that happens right around Memorial Day every year. You're telling them to go to the Book Expo and talk with publishers about their books. And I said, you're kind of feeding them to the lion's den because they don't have a book proposal. And publishers won't look at their book unless they have a book proposal in this day and age, right? Now, when Bob Allen's original book, Nothing Down, How to Buy Real Estate for Little or No Money Down, I could talk this evening. When that book came out, you know, he had used that strategy, but that book came out in 1978. The world changed a great deal. I said, you know, these people are, you know, they're trusting in you and believing in you and me as well. And, you know, you're bringing them to the Book Expo, but they're not ready. They're not prepared. He said, okay, come up with a webinar on how to write a book proposal. Well, okay. And I was like halfway through the middle of writing my own book proposal. I was no expert at all. But because I worked for Bob Allen, I could get on the phone with Simon & Schuster. I could get on the phone with John Wiley & Sons. I could get on the phone with Crown Books. And I would say, what do you want to see in these book proposals? What really matters? You know? And I found out that, and that's what I taught to people, you know, and I talked to literary agents. I'd say, I work with Bob Allen. Oh, we'll get right to you, you know. In fact, one of the things when I started working for him, he said, throw my name around, it can help sometimes. I said, okay, I'll do that, you know. So I did, right? You know, but how the idea for my own book came around is here I'm teaching these webinar classes in marketing, and of course I got my degree in marketing in a year, and I bought my first business when I was 20 years old, 25 actually, you know, and I mean I always was in marketing, and what I noticed is that between women and men there was this huge difference when it came to marketing and selling, and I'm seeing heads going up and down when it comes to the ladies here. And when it became just stark, clear, obvious to me was when I flew to the East Coast to one of his seminars, and my job was to kind of, you know, I would be one of the speakers, but my job was to kind of schmooze around with people and just make sure everybody's happy. If people weren't happy, I was supposed to report back to Bob and let them know, but my job was to make sure they're happy, right? So I would invite, you know, kind of a crowd of people with me, not a big crowd, but maybe 8 people I'd invite to lunch with me. So one day we go to lunch at this nice Mexican restaurant across the street from the Marriott Hotel where the event was at. And everybody's excitedly talking about their business ideas and what they're doing and what they're working on and all this great stuff. And then you know what happens when the food comes and all of a sudden everything gets quiet, right? And so I'm trying to keep the conversation going because I'm supposed to be, you know, sort of the schmoozer, right? So at any rate, I said, so how are you planning on marketing your ideas? Okay? Now, if you're part of the Phoenix 2% Club, and if I know Jeff, and if I know Jason Mast, who's, you know, involved with it as well, you know that marketing is important, right?
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, it's critical, right? And what's fascinating is you know, the 8 people, so maybe half men, half women, is that all the women sat back, got silent, didn't say another word all the way through lunch. And all the guys, they're talking, sharing ideas and chucking and jiving and having a good time, right? You know, and even like on the walk back across the street to the hotel, the women are like this. I went, what the heck just happened there? What was that? All right? And then when I started teaching more classes for him, what would happen? Have you ever heard the expression, there's no such thing as a dumb question? I disagree. There are a lot of dumb questions. Okay? Right?
Yeah.
All right. So what would happen is I'm doing a webinar and someone would ask me some totally left field question about something that I knew, you know, I mean, I would have like a room about this size, number of people on these webinars. I thought, oh my gosh, No one else on this call is going to be interested in the answer. So I said, why don't you send me an email with your question, let's schedule a time, and we'll talk about it, and I'll help you with it, okay? So that's how I started doing mentoring with people, all right? And it got to a point where I was doing 20 calls a week like that with people, 45 minutes each, brainstorming, crystallizing, coming up with ideas, taking what they thought, turning it, twisting it, making it better, because that's what I'm really, really good at, okay? And they would go, wow, and I could have never given them that time on the call with other people. I had information I wanted to get through, and nobody else would have been interested in their specific thing, right? And what I started noticing is that when I would get on the phone with a gentleman, you know, his attitude was like, Denise, I'm really excited, let's get started, right? Because, you know, I'm talking about marketing. And I would get on the phone with a woman and she'd say, okay, Denise, now, before we get started, I just got to ask you something. Is there any way I can avoid this? Okay? Can I hire you to do it for me? Right? No, you can't. Right? And I thought, there's really something to this. So after this seminar, I was really blessed. I was scheduled to do like a 1-week retreat with the church I was a part of then, up in Monterey, Carmel, beautiful, with the water and the pine trees and the deer. And, you know, I could go to classes, or I could sing around the piano, or I could just write. And I thought, you know, there's really something to this. And when I got home from that event, I called a good friend of mine. Okay, I'm going to say a bad word in a minute, so I'm warning all of you in advance. I called a friend of mine, and they said, you know what, Bob? Not Bob Allen, it's a different Bob. I said, you know what, Bob? I said, marketing's really masculine, isn't it? And he goes, Denise, it's more than masculine, it's downright penile. You know, I mean, what do we say, okay, when, you know, we're talking about marketing? You got to get out there. You got to project outward. You think, what is masculine? War and throw that football and do that stuff. What's feminine? Cookies in the oven when the kids come home, and, you know, making yourself look attractive. I mean, be a nice girl. Let everybody else go first. Don't call the boy, right? So I wrote a book about it. Stacy, can you hold up my book?
Absolutely.
Okay? Now, I wrote a book about it. Now, my book became a business bestseller. Thank you very much. My book sold in 15 countries. Thank you. My book is in Korea. It's in South Africa. It's in India. It's more in the United States than anywhere else. Okay? So, how did I do it, and how do you get started? How many people here have considered the idea that, you know what, I'm really good at something, or I have some message I want to share with the world? I want to make sure I don't go over, because I can go for hours on this topic. All right? How many have considered the possibility, maybe I should write a book, or maybe you started writing a book? Yeah? Some? Okay, cool. Good. Good. And, Denise, Dr. Machuga, since I'm wearing a parkland bracelet, okay, what have you thought about writing a book on?
Well,
Microphone.
kind of, I had a fictional idea.
Hang on,
that,
Denise.
you know, kind of a help.
Get it up there.
I think I talk loud enough. I
No.
don't need a microphone. Oh, but for the video, I need to
Okay,
say that
Turn it on.
just the book.
The book,
The mic's not
I got a lot to say yet.
right.
You got your time up here, Doctor.
Here we go. Okay, like I said, it was either, you know, like, my background has a lot been in careers, you know, so it would be something like that, or also a fictional book.
Okay, all right, great. Linda, I saw your hand go up. What kind of book have you thought about writing?
I actually have written a book.
Awesome.
And it's published.
Okay,
It
good.
isn't a bestseller yet.
Okay, all right.
But I do want to write more books, and most of the books that I
What's the genre?
is personal growth type stuff.
Sure.
And how to achieve your full potential in every area of your life.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. Thank you. On this side, there's a woman in the back who's got these really bizarre, cool shoes on.
That makes sense.
There's no barriers to entry, but there are barriers to success. And the problem is that nobody knows where the bar is set. All right, I'll say that again. There's no barriers to entry. I mean, anybody can start writing, right? Okay, but how do you know when you have a book? And how do you know when you have a publishable book? And how do you know when you're going to have a book that people are going to want to buy? And that's one of the things I do. Okay, I mentor people in marketing. I do workshops with Stacy. I mentor people in writing books. And the reason that I mentor people in book writing is because it is bar none one of the most amazing ways to leverage yourself and position yourself as a leader. All right. Now, I only mentor people who are writing books on how to. Okay, how to. All right. You know, so that could be your health and fitness book. That could be or personal growth. You know, they're really kind of the same category. They're different ends of the same category. Okay. Now, why do I mentor people in nonfiction books? Why do you think? Huh? I mean, for one thing that's really, really cool for me is that as I am supporting an aspiring author and getting their message out to the world, it's like I have this little teensy tiny stake in that person's success as their mentor. So I'm getting all these positive messages out to the world, which is very, very cool. But I'll tell you another reason, okay? Fiction writers are more interesting at cocktail parties, but nonfiction writers drive better cars. Yeah. Okay? Twice as many nonfiction books sell as fiction books, and I'll bet you didn't know that. Okay? Now, years ago, before Robert Allen came into my life, all right, I wrote a novel that was kind of loosely based on my story. You know, I mean, I wasn't writing it to be like a memoir because it was very loosely based. I mean, I killed my ex-husband and, you know, it's fun, right? Right? Okay? So, and I did have an agent that was interested in that book, but there was something about that agent's letter that really bothered me. There was 3 typos in his letter. All right? And marketing was one of my degrees back in college. Journalism was the other. You know, so I've always been a writer, and I thought, something's wrong with this stuff, right? Something smells in Denmark, okay? So, by the way, regarding the books in the back of the room that Stacy is sitting by, for women, it's going to help you understand why you hesitate when it comes to marketing and selling. You're going to read that book, and you're going to go, oh my God, it's like she's reading my brain. All right? I have heard that over and over and over again. Okay, men. Have you ever really wanted to understand women?
Yes.
Okay? Most men do, right? All right? For men, I have had men friends who have told me they've been up at 2 o'clock at night, you know, under the cover with the flashlight so they don't keep their wife awake, reading my book because it helps them understand women so well. You know, in fact, it's like a sneak peek behind enemy lines to understand the women on your team. Right? So, you know, get the book if you're going to read a book. If you're the kind of person where you never read books, don't just go, you know. I mean, that's my heart and soul in that thing. Okay? So, one of the things I already told you is that nonfiction books sell much better than fiction books. All right? Now, I want to dive into nonfiction books. This past spring, not too long ago, I started mentoring small groups of people, all right, and how to write books. Okay, I have been working with individual private clients, all right, for quite some time, a number of years. But I started doing groups because this woman who connected with me on Facebook, she read up on me and everything, and she said, you know, would you consider doing this with a group? And I said, yeah, you gonna get the people for me? She said, yeah, I will. And you know what? She did. It was awesome. You know, and so I've been doing these groups, and I only have like 6 to 8 people in the groups. And what's really, really fascinating is about half the time, and everybody knows it's how to and it's, you know, personal growth, all right? I don't, you know, help people write children's stories or poetry or murder mysteries or romance. No, I don't do that. It's not my genre. I don't know it. I mean, I read it once in a while, but, you know, it's not my thing. So, anyway, what I noticed is about half the people that I talked to thought they wanted to write a book that was kind of a memoir,
which means sort of their story. And the whole idea is that they wanted to help people with their story. Can anybody relate to this? You thought about writing a book that's your story. Okay. So just like I told you about fiction writers are more interesting at cocktail parties, all right, I'm going to tell you something about memoirs. All right? And when I first heard this, I thought, oh, this is just somebody who doesn't like memoirs. Okay? Memoirs are the slowest selling category of book out there. Slowest. Okay? Now, I'm sure that you had Borders down here. Borders closed up in Las Vegas last September, October. And because I live really close to both Borders and Barnes & Noble, right across the street from each other, you know, when they announced that they were finally closing, which a lot of people, you know, who follow that, they knew that was coming, all right? You know, I said, I'm going to go there every few days, and I'm going to see how it's, you know, like what's selling, what's moving and everything. Plus, I might pick up some Christmas gifts, you know, right? Which I did, okay? So, I went into my local Borders the day before they closed down, and I have to tell you, it was sad. You know, I was like blinking back tears. Because Borders is originally from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I'm from Michigan. You know, it was on the campus of the University of Michigan. It was a 4-story Victorian red brick house, you know, that had different departments on each floor, and it just expanded and went crazy from there. So I went there the day before they're closed. You know what was left? Memoirs. Spanish language books and memoirs. That's it. So to those people who are thinking about writing a memoir, if you can take your story and be what's called prescriptive, okay? What's that word, prescriptive, okay? What does that sound like to you when you hear prescriptive? Like a prescription, right? Okay? It's like the doctor says, take 2, call me in the morning, okay? And so if you can be prescriptive, in other words, as a result of your story, you can give people some action steps and some advice on what to do. Now your book is shifting into a nonfiction, either how-to or personal growth category. Bang! Sales skyrocket. Okay? You also should know that in the personal growth category, 80% of the buyers are women between the ages of 30 and 65. 30 and 65. So if you're going to write a personal growth book, all right, you need to keep in mind that the vast majority of your readers, your focus market, I don't say target market because I'm not shooting anybody, all right? Your focus market is women, right? Makes sense? Okay? So one of the things that Jeff asked me to talk about is how do you start? Where do you start? Okay? And where I suggest that people start, once they think they have an idea, is with an outline. With an outline. Now, chances are, most of you learn how to write an outline in, I don't know, 5th grade or 6th grade, and you write I, and then you write 1, 2, 3, and then you write A, B, and then I, and then I, and then I, right? That's not the same kind of outline. All right, the outline that I recommend the people that I work with use is a process where you're doing it in 10-minute spurts. And you take a topic and you write like the wind for 10 minutes on that topic. And then get up, walk your dog, go do something different, take a nap, make a sandwich, do something else, and then come to another. Set the timer for 10 minutes, write that major topic, and then write like the wind all the minor topics under it. All right? And in my group book mentoring programs, I go through all the details of how to do that, okay? Now, another thing that I advise you to do is understand what other books are out there that are similar to yours. Understand what other books are out there that are similar to your book or the book that you have in mind. Now, why do you think I would suggest you do that? Yes, Denise.
Because you want to present something different than we're facing. You want to
kind of, sort of. Yeah. Yes.
See how it's selling.
See how it's selling. Sure. Yes.
Make sure.
Oh, okay. Just to make sure that there is a market for it.
Make sure there's a market for it. Okay? Now, I gotta tell you know, when I was outlining my book, and then when I started doing my competitive analysis, that's what it's called, competitive analysis. Okay? When I was doing that, and there's, you know, a lot of instructions to the competitive analysis, but it starts with looking at the competition, all right, and where it's going and everything. All right, when I was doing mine, there was absolutely no marketing books for women, all right? There was a sales book. I'm using the telephone, right? You know, and there was a book that came out a few months before mine, and she really got hurt by the title of her book. I mean, I really liked the woman because I knew her from Colorado and everything, but her book was called Shameless Marketing for Brazen Hussies. Oh. And what I learned, all right, in my experience with all these women that I mentored one-on-one on the phone, 20 a week, over and over and over, right? And you know, 40 people a week on webinars, 4 or 5 webinars a week, what I learned is like that's the last thing we want to be seen as, is shameless marketing for brazen hussies, you know? Because when you think about marketing, or when you think about sales, okay, let's just get it on the table. The good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you think of when you think about marketing and selling? Come on, be honest.
Well, being pushy.
Pushy, good, next. Who else?
Huckster.
What's that?
Huckster.
Huckster, thank you.
Being hustled.
Being hustled, thank you. I'm looking for a word, begins with the letter M. Let's see if somebody comes up with it. Manipulative. Give that lady $1. Thank you, Linda. Okay? All right. The thing is that why would you ever want to be, not just in sales, because if you're in business, you're in sales. I guarantee you. Okay? You know? But why would you ever want to be that awful, yucky thing? Right? You don't want to. You know, and so an awful lot of people are willing to just say, whoa, I don't know, maybe I don't want this so much, because it's out of alignment with your values. It's out of integrity. All right? When you write a book, ooh, it's a whole different world. All right? When you write a book, number one, you are the expert. You are the expert. Okay? Now, I wrote a book about something that nobody had ever written before, and when you take the time to read my book, you know, whether you start working on it this evening or this weekend or 6 months from now, you will see it's different than any other book you've ever read on marketing or selling. It comes from a different point of view, all right? And it's all about making different conscious choices. It's not about blaming anyone, you know, nothing like that. It's just how do we be more successful, okay? You know, but when you write a book, you are the expert. That's it. End of story. Now, if you can take your topic and with the help of someone who really knows what they're doing, all right, you work with someone who can help you take that topic and fine-tune it, and what I said before, crystallize it and pull it all together so that it has a uniqueness, you know, so that you can say, I am the expert of this. All right? Man, you got something there. That's why my book became a business bestseller and sold in 15 countries, because it had never been done. So, you know, yes, I was constantly checking, all right, like what's out there for women in the area of marketing. You know, I was coming up empty-handed, and I thought either I am absolutely crazy or I am stark raving brilliant. I don't know which. Okay? And as it turned out, it was a little bit more the latter than the former. Okay, because as Nicole was telling you, as a result of writing a book, and to this day, no one has written a book like it in terms of the message that's unique to women. You know, we're starting businesses at double the rate of men for the last 9 years now, by the way. Okay? In the African American community, they're starting businesses at 4 times the rate of men. They got those statistics lodged right there, right? Okay? So, when you write a book, you know, with a little help and a little support, you can come up with something that's got a little spin, a little unique, a little different from everything else that's out there, so that you can say, this is my expertise. And when you can say, this is my expertise, okay, you get more clients, you get more opportunities to speak. You get on the Today Show, like I was with Al Roker. You get, I still do radio things. My book's been out over 5 years, and I probably do 1 radio show a week, sometimes 2 or 3 of them, okay? Do you think that brings people to my website who then find out about my marketing mentoring or book mentoring?
Yeah.
Do you think that brings more people to my workshops? Well, Stacy and I do them together. And by the way, she's no slouch. How many people here know about law of attraction? Okay? Stacy, all right? I mean, give this woman props. Stacy wrote the first book on law of attraction in business that came out in, what was it, 2000?
2001.
2001, Attracting Perfect Customers, The Power of Strategic Synchronicity. That book came out 10 years ago, still sells today. Stacy has a new book that's become a bestseller called Chi to Be, Achieving Your Ultimate Be-All. But you know what? Attracting Perfect Customers is still selling. And she's still doing and charging for webinars on attracting perfect customers. 10 years later. Okay, amazing, huh? Yeah. So you start off with an outline and you start with the competitive analysis. Okay, those are good places to start. All right, because what it does is it really helps you fine tune, like what the heck do I really want to say? Because that's where I was at when I came home from that retreat that day, and called my friend Bob on the East Coast and asked him, is the marketing really masculine? He said, yep, sure is. Okay? So has this been helpful so far?
Oh, yeah.
Okay? How many people are thinking writing a book might kind of sort of be a cool thing to do? Wow. Okay? How many people here feel like they're really, really good at something, and being able to say that you're the expert would help you to get more business? Okay? In the last 4 years with my private mentoring clients, I've raised my rates 3 times. All right? And if you know anything about Las Vegas, economy, I mean, we're ground zero when it comes to foreclosures out there. Right? And I've raised my rates anyway. Okay? And I just started doing a new webinar program. It's called Get Paid What You're Worth. And it's like how to raise your rates and how to do these things and all of that. But the book, people, how do I want to say this? We're all meeting people all the time. And we have to filter things out or we'll go crazy because we're overstimulated. I'm sure you've heard, that we see between, like 8,000 and 12,000 advertising messages daily. So we have to filter a lot out. And we filter people out. But when you say I'm the author of, all right, it puts you in a different category. All right? It removes you 100% from that, pushy, obnoxious, whatever, manipulative, calculating. It totally removes you from that realm, and it puts you in a completely different realm in terms of who you are, your expertise, and what you can charge for that expertise. How many people would like that? Say yes or yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, I'm seeing smiles over here with Linda. Okay, good. So as I mentioned before, what I started doing is I started creating groups, okay, of people who want to be mentored in writing these how-to and personal growth books, okay? And I have one person writing a cookbook that helps reduce stress. I have other people writing personal growth type books. I have other people writing health and fitness books. I mean, there's all kinds, and I love the variety of it. I love helping people do it. It's really, really fun. Hey, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool to start an Arizona Phoenix 2% Club group?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome? I love that. Cool. Okay, so let's do that. All right, so what, you know, I mean, when you have speakers here, do they sometimes offer something for sale afterwards? I mean, I'm already giving the book away, right? But do they ever offer something for sale?
Yes.
I won't disappoint you. Okay, good. All right, good. How am I doing on time? I'm doing pretty good. All right. So here's what I want to tell you about my group book mentoring program. Is what I've discovered is that if you will work at it consistently, all right, you don't have to be glued to, you know, the laptop all the time. I want you to know that I wrote my book while I was working for Bob Allen, and those were 80, 90-hour weeks I was working for him. It was in that time that I actually wrote my book, okay? And it's a 212, I mean, it's a full-length book. It's not like one of these little teensy tiny things. You know, and ebooks are nice, you know, but a real book, Nook or Kindle is good, but you know, the little ebooks, it's like a PDF file. I have some of those. You know, I mean, I have a 108-page PDF file book on how to write awesome sales letters that'll crack the code on making money online, right? And I sell it, $97, okay? You know, I have those kinds of things available. But the group book mentoring program is 6 months long. And I'm going to be starting my next one the week of Labor Day. I believe it's going to be Wednesday, September 5th. Now that doesn't conflict because that's the first Wednesday of the month, right, Jeff?
I suppose so.
You know, but you said that these things were on the 2nd and the 4th.
Yes,
you
yes,
know,
that's
right?
correct. You're right.
So I mean, I don't want to conflict with these things. If there's anybody in this room or a few people in this room that would like to be part of a group. We meet twice a month. Now, what happens is, before we meet, you get an audio, and these are recent. These things have only been recorded in the last couple months, so it's not old information, all right? And you listen to that audio a couple days or a day before, and then you come on the call. And then we talk about how do you take that information and customize it to your specific situation, which is why I call it group book mentoring, not a group book class, okay? Because I'm actually working one-on-one with people. You know, I won't accept any more than 8 people in a group. That's it. Okay? And so you listen to the audio, and then a day or two later you come on the call. And the calls are for an hour, and we talk about what you got out of that, and how you think it might work. And Denise, I don't think this is going to work for me at all. Okay, so let's figure it out. You know, let's sort it out and make it happen for you. All right? And we keep moving forward. And we talk about how to do that outline. We talk about how to do the competitive analysis, the overview, the synopsis, how to write your chapters, your writing style. Then we get into publishing options. How do you do Nook, Kindle? How do you deal with an editor? How do you choose one that's not going to rip you off? And then how do you promote the book so you're successful with it and it gives you what you want? I'll give you, for instance, when my book came out, I hired a publicist, okay? A publicist, his or her job is to go to media and to get you exposure. You know, get articles in magazines or on websites or whatever, all right? Now, don't do what I did, okay? Because I hired someone who had publicist experience, but she had done it for hospitals and other large public organizations like that, all right? Where they got on, you know, if they had a PSA or public service announcement or something like that, they got on automatically, all right? If you're going to hire a publicist, you only want someone whose experience is doing publicity for books, because it's a whole different thing. All right, I threw away thousands of dollars, you know, because she didn't have that experience. She had different experience. She worked hard. She really, really tried, but she didn't get results. Okay? So it's a 6-month program. It's audios. It's live calls. I have a private Facebook group, so if you've got questions in between or you want to connect with your fellow group book mentoring folks, you can do that, okay? And I'm throwing in a bonus, because, a couple bonuses actually, because this program isn't going to start until Wednesday, September the 5th, and it'll be at 7 o'clock in the evening, all right? Because it's not starting for about another month or so. And because I'm here at the 2% Club, and Jeff kind of twisted my arm here. I'm also throwing in, I have a 4-week program on how to make customers happily say yes. All right? I have a method of closing sales that is natural, it's easy, people are interested, they're fascinated, and when you use it, more people will say yes, I guarantee you. If you will use it the way I teach you to. Okay? How many people would find value in just that alone? Yes? Okay? You'll also receive what I call my holistic goal setting system. And what it does is 2 audios and a workbook that helps you set goals in every facet of your life. Do all y'all write down your goals? Okay, important, right?
Yes.
You know the old Yale study that said at graduation 3% of Yale grads wrote down their goals, and then at retirement age, the same 3% were the ones that were the most successful, right? But this is a holistic system because what it does is it helps you put into place, okay, all the support you need from every direction around you to create the success. Like being a part of the 2% Club is awesome. But when you walk out that door, wouldn't it be great to have more people that are successful? Wouldn't it be great to know after you achieve a goal what your reward is going to be for achieving that goal? Okay? Most people say, well, just, getting the goal is good enough. No, because then we go on to the next thing. We need to take a minute to stop and appreciate ourselves, acknowledge our accomplishments before we move on to the next thing. All right? Even if it's just go to a Starbucks with a friend for a small goal, or a weekend getaway with, our spouse, for a big goal. Make sense? Okay. Now, the 6-month program is $200 a month for everything that I've described to you. Okay? Or $1,200. All right? And then when you add in the bonuses, it's $1,358. Okay? And what I'm going to do is, because Jeff twisted my arm, because you're here at the 2% Club, all right, I've reduced it to 6 payments of $150 each. Or if you do it just in one payment, it's $750, which is almost half off. Maybe 40–45% off. Okay? So it would be really, really cool to have a group of 2%ers here, coming together twice a month, working on your books, working towards success, because it's not just the writing part. Anybody can sit down and start writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. I mean, I love it. I'll write all day long, I started social networking 12 years ago, so I'm a pro, when it comes to social media. And that's a lot of how I made my book so successful. It sure as heck wasn't the publicist, that's for sure, okay? Right? And so I would absolutely love, you know now how to start a book. You know now the beginning steps. But I would love to help support you more if it's important for you to be seen in your profession, in your business as an expert, so that you can stand above others, okay? You can rise above, if you want to call it competition or whatever, and raise your rates, get paid what you're worth. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay? So if that sounds interesting to you, I have some flyers. I attached my business card to them. You still get the book. We need to get a business card from you if you're going to get a copy of a free book. Okay? But yeah, just whoever wants one. And then what we wanted to do is have a handout on, have you sign up on Wi-Fi. We bought a couple of laptops, but we have the written agreement there. And what I'll do is, if you'll sign it and put your email address and your phone number on the 3-part form, it's one of those white, pink, yellow things, okay? Then what I'll do is tonight, when I get back to my hotel, I'm staying at the JW Marriott. It is nice, okay? Anyway, when I get back there, what I'll do is I will email you a link so that you can sign up with your credit card or debit card. because the DoubleTree wanted an additional $200 just to turn on the Wi-Fi for this room, you know, so there you go. So I want to thank you for being a fabulous, wonderful audience. Any questions before I wrap up? Yes?
What are your private coaching rates?
Let's talk about that privately.
Okay.
I'll be happy to. Yes, absolutely. Good. Anyone else? Feeling good? Yes. The woman with the crazy shoes.
I just wanted to thank you while you were talking. I got inspired and
Yes.
actually wrote all 10 of the chapters, the outline, so my book is ready right now.
Let's go. I love it. There you go. Somebody else with a comment or question?
I have a lot of commitments right now. Do you start these programs every 6 months or so?
Yeah, it really depends. You know, I started 3 of them over the spring and summer. This one in September might be the last one for a while. I don't know. That's just being honest. Yeah, cool. Good, good. Anyone else? Questions, comments? And what I'll do is, as soon as we're done, I know Nikki's going to wrap up here, but as soon as we're done, I'll be in the back of the room. Stacy will be getting your business cards and handing you a book. If you have questions about what I'm offering or, you know, the whole book thing in general, I'd be delighted to talk with you about. So thank you so much for being here.
Are we in the third already?
Yep.
Wow, that's just amazing. So, if you have seen us since the very beginning, you know that we've done a lot of changes, and it's because of these comment forms that we've created some of the changes. We've got amazing speakers like Denise Michaels that come in now. We have, you know, a bigger environment that's more friendly and warm, and you know, we have different setups and all that kind of thing. So everything, all the feedback you provide to us, we really take and get under consideration. So please feel free to fill those out.
You could sing, Nicole.
I could, but you really, really don't want me to. you need to keep working on it, you're welcome to work on it as we wrap up. Please bear with us. You'll have plenty of time after we finish up to go back and talk to Denise. So you get to be in this energy twice a week, every single week. Is that great or what? So you get to be surrounded and full of energy. We also have our groups online. And remember to go ahead and visit. Facebook is our most active place. We have the discussion group, which is not listed up here, but you can access it, I think, from the 2% Club website, which I'm not sure is it still kind of not. Yeah. Okay, so you can't go to the 2% Club website right now because it's broken. But we're working on it. So, but join the Facebook groups. If you're not a member already, please give your card to one of the core team members or Success Squad members, and we'll get you on that group. We have two groups. We have the discussion group, where you get to go talk about the stuff that we talked about here. And we also have the events group, where you get to post your events and promote a little bit about your business. Now, we don't do any promotion on the discussion page. We only do that on the events page. That way the discussion gets to stay clean for all the great topics that we talk about, but yet you still have a place that you can go and do some self-promotion, because after all, self-promotion is important, right? Right. Right. Got a question?
Where is the difference? I know I get to the 2% discussion. Where is the difference?
Get with one of the core team members and who you're friends on Facebook with, and they'll send an invite to you or get that information to you. Because it's kind of hard to write the really long thing. All right, so reviewing some action items. So in the wealth file discussion, we talked a little bit about having both, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And so how many of you came up with some great ideas to create some passive and active forms of income? So remember to take that action step this week. This month. It's all about taking what you've learned here and putting it into action. So go out over the next 30 days and really put that into action. And I'm going to add something. Remember to ask yourself, how can I have both? So kind of put that phrase into your head for the next 30 days and see how that changes your world. And then I'm going to take from Denise's discussion an action item. When you're ready to start writing that book, start with your outline. 10-minute mini chunks. Take your topics and write it on it for 10 minutes. That way at least you're getting started, because after all, sometimes the hardest step is the very first step, right?
Yes.
Okay. So again, here's our Facebook, and if you want the information, You can text, if you've got a smartphone, you can text this 50, there's no hyphen there, so it's just 5,500, all one number. And then you can enter the keyword 2%, and it'll send you the 2% Club information about the next event that's coming up. And our next summit is August 22nd. So make sure you get registered for that. Good or good? Good. Okay. Finally, I'd like to just make sure and once again acknowledge, I served on the core team for a year last year. You don't understand the commitment that is involved in being a part of the core team. They meet on a consistent, regular basis. Weekly, they have discussions. They're always taking your information and implementing it to make this group as amazing as possible. And I want to really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, and I hope that you do too, take a moment to thank each and every one of our core team members. Can you do that for me? Volunteers that come and help us out, because the money that we use, basically, the money we bring in, basically goes to pay for this beautiful room. And that's about all it covers for us, and sometimes it doesn't even cover that much for us. But our volunteers, our success squad is there, and they're on top of things, getting things done for you, registering you, getting the seat packets ready, and doing all that stuff. Is that good or great? Great. So make sure you take a chance and thank them as well. Okay. But now, would you agree that without the music that we have to really make the energy big and go bold, and the microphones that we're not having to talk like this and you're having to say, what? Wouldn't you agree that that really adds to the energy and the atmosphere in this meeting? Not to put too fine a point on it. Well, Tom has been dedicated to the 2% Club since the very beginning, and he barely misses a beat. I think you've missed maybe 3 meetings out of the whole 2% Club of all. He's here. He's dedicated. He's committed. And you know what? He's about to be a second-time dad. The information that we learned tonight, because it's one thing to learn it, but it's another to really absorb it into our cellular being so that we take it with us and we really use it. Would you agree with that? Yes. Okay, so we do a process called letting it go. I'm going to show you what we do first, and then I'm going to have you all do it with me, okay? So what we do is we kind of bend over, and we kind of just get all our energy all in one ball, and then we rise up, and at the top we snap. Okay, that's all there is to it. It's called letting it